Yeah, I was ready, they didn't have my back. They was petty, I stayed in my bed. On that petty, I brought it right back.
Whew, okay, so I've been warned about this video, and that's why I, out of respect and to the families, the loved ones, out of respect, the video is faded. And I know in this video, y'all warn me that, you know, it's raw. Some of the deaths and stuff that went on in this Formula One, Deadliest Formula One accidents are not, you know, covered up or anything, and you can actually see stuff and you can actually, you know, kind of feel it, and it's kind of disturbing. So I do have it faded on my screen, just for the simple fact that I want to just, you know, give my respect, man, and actually just, you know, there's nothing against this creator, nothing against this person who made this, who put this together. And you know, it's probably for educational purposes and just showing people. And he or she did give a warning before the video. The following content may disturb some viewers, especially children or people that are sensitive. You know what I'm saying? But highly requested on my channel, especially after we just reacted to what's the name on the Netflix series. So, hey. And it's crazy. He's actually been in a couple car accidents. You know what I'm saying? Now he's retired now, but. You know, I'm glad that he survived that crash, and it's truly a blessing, man. God is good, you know what I'm saying? But let's get into this, man. This is called 8 Deadliest Formula One Car Accidents, man. Yeah. So let's take it in for the first time. And like I said, it's kind of faded. You should be able to still kind of see it, but just out of respect, man, it is faded, and you know what I'm saying? I usually, like, I show my other ones, and I do even do the full 3D, I mean, the full green screen. But it's just the fact that I have been warned about this video. And a huge shout out to Jake for sending this to me and telling me about this in my Instagram DMs, because he really enjoyed my last Formula One video. But let's check it out for the first time, and I hope you all have an amazing day. I'm wishing blessings and health and more success to you all, to your kids and your loved ones, man. Let's check it out.
Warning: the following content might disturb some viewers, especially children and sensitive individuals. Formula One is a world-known racing sport which has many fans and supporters. For decades, massive events have been organized around fast races in various countries. However, the high speeds, tricky driving, as well as the low-lying vehicles have their downsides. Today, we'll show you our opinion on the 8 most fatal Formula One accidents in history. Here we go.
And this is, hey man, like I told you, I'm a car enthusiast. Y'all know I'm a car enthusiast. I own badass cars. I've drove badass cars. I've driven fast cars. I've driven cars. I've driven Lamborghini. I've driven all kind of cars you could think of, from the projects to the supercars to the big trucks to 18 wheelers to every manual, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like me learning how to drive manual was the best thing ever. You know what I'm saying? I've driven electric. I own a Tesla. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. You know, in this little short span of time being a 23-year-old, I've had a great experience with cars, and I've been born and raised with cars throughout since a little kid, man, with the Hot Wheels. You know, my parents just threw cars in front of me, so I fell in love with cars. Now I know the full Formula One is a huge different breed, man, and that's why I say salute, and my respect goes out to these cats that have literally lost their life, you know, in this sport, man. And it's a beautiful sport, but I mean, it gets kind of crazy, you know what I'm saying? And I don't wish that on nobody, but you know, accidents and kind of stuff, it happens every day. It happens all the time, man. But let's get into this, man. I'm ready for it, and I hope y'all are, man.
Number 8. Henry Surtees' fatal accident, the 19th of July, 2009. Not too long ago, this British racing driver
2009
died at only 18 years old during a round of...
He was 18? Oh, my heart goes out to the family. He was 18 years old, man.
Formula 2 race at Brands Hatch, Jack Clark, who was driving several cars ahead of Surtees, ran off the track and hit the crash barriers. Off came his tire. The tire was thrown out onto the road and directly onto the helmet of Surtees. Surtees lost consciousness and then raced straight into a curve on the wall and came to a stop.
Wait, so what? Oh, I didn't even get to. So, wow. So the tire hit his helmet?
18 years old. During a round
Let's replay
Formula
that.
2 race at Brands Hatch, Jack Clark, who was driving several cars ahead of Surtees, ran off the track and hit the crash barriers. Off came his...
Oh, it did. Oh, it hit his car. Look, it hit his car, but it hit his helmet. And I imagine the weight of one of those tires on that car, man. Oh.
Tire. The tire was thrown out onto the road and directly onto the helmet of Surtees. Surtees lost consciousness and then raced straight into a curve on the wall and came to a stop 100 meters later. He later died in the hospital from his injuries.
Oh, man, my heart goes out to the family, bro. And you can literally see, I mean, it was pitch. I mean, you could just see the whole accident right here. Boom. Like, just, rest in peace, man. That is so sad, bro. 2009. I want to just watch it one more time, man, because I want to see how that folded. Like, it happened so fast, man. This is so sad.
The driver died at only 18 years old.
18 years old.
During a round of the Formula 2 race at Brands Hatch, Jack Clark, who was driving several cars ahead of Surtees, ran off the track and hit the crash barriers.
Boom.
Off came...
That quick, man. That quick. And I hate for situations to happen like this because he's just, you know... And the driver had, you know, he didn't have nothing to do. You know, he wasn't trying to kill nobody. He had nothing to do with it, man. He just, you know, man, I hate that happen, bro.
His tire. The tire was thrown out onto the road and directly onto the helmet of Surtees. Surtees lost consciousness.
And it just knocked him. It knocked him out, man. That was it.
100 meters later.
That was
he
it.
Later died in the hospital from his injuries. Number 7. Jeff Krosnoff. During the 11th lap in the Champion Car Series in July 1996, the American Jeff Krosnoff died in a rear-end collision. Krosnoff drove into the rear wheel of the car of Johansson and was thrown and smashed into a safety fence. Continued for another round and then was stopped. Number 6. Riccardo Paletti. June 13th, 1982.
Oh, man. How did that even... Man, let me hear that again. How did that even come about?
1996, the American Jeff Krosnoff died in a rear-end collision. Krosnoff drove into the rear wheel of the car of Johansson and was thrown and smashed into a safety fence. The race continued for another round and then was stopped.
They should have just ended the race right there, in my opinion. They should have just ended the whole race right there. Forget the other round.
Number 6, Riccardo Paletti. June 13th, 1982, the Canadian Grand Prix. This was a rather innocent-looking accident. The Italian, Riccardo Paletti, started his second Formula 1 in the penultimate row of the formation. At the start of the race, however, the Frenchman Didier Pironi stopped short in his Ferrari. Some of the field were able to avoid Pironi, however, Paletti did not succeed. He struck the Frenchman at full acceleration just under 200 kilometers per hour. While Didier got off unscathed, Paletti was extremely balled up in the accident. The steering wheel stabbed into his chest and his legs broke several times.
Steering wheel stabbed into his chest. It's kind of like crunched up. You really couldn't see this one, but that's why I'm going back a little bit. But man,
However, Paletti did not succeed. He struck the Frenchman at full acceleration just under 200 kilometers per hour, while Didier got off unscathed.
And that's crazy because the race just started. Look, like he said, the race just started. Let me go back and hear it again.
Grand Prix. This was a rather innocent-looking accident.
Yeah, the race just started.
The Italian, Riccardo Paletti, started his second Formula 1 in the penultimate row of the formation. At the start of the race, however, the Frenchman Didier Pironi stopped short in his Ferrari. Some of the field were able to avoid Pironi, however, Paletti did not succeed. He struck the Frenchman at full acceleration just under 200 kilometers per hour. While Didier got off unscathed, Paletti was extremely balled up in the accident. The steering wheel stabbed into his chest and his legs broke several times. Paletti lost consciousness as Didier was the first to arrive at his car. Even more marshals rushed in to help. While they were trying to save the completely stuck Paletti, the wreckage ignited within seconds. Even after the fire, Paletti was still conscious, but lost it during the rescue operation. It can be assumed that he was dead in the car, but his death was only announced after the restart of the race, making it no longer necessary to be canceled. A common method of Formula One. Ultimately, the show has to go on. Number 5. Gilles Villeneuve.
Rest in peace.
Canadian father and racing driver was known for his breakneck fast driving style. Unfortunately, however, this cost him his life. During the final practice of the Grand Prix of Belgium in 1982, Villeneuve at 270 km per hour grazed his front tire against the rear right tire of Jochen Mass, who was only going around 170 km per hour. Through the catapultic effect, Villeneuve's car rose into the air, flipped over, and crashed onto the front of an embankment. Villeneuve was thrown from his car across the track into a fence. He was subjected to centrifugal forces so strong that he lost his helmet, shoes, and even socks.
Oh, and they even showed his... The
then 32-year-old could not survive this impact. He died.
Rest in peace, man. They even showed... Oh, my God, man.
Died later that day in a hospital. Number 4, Lorenzo Bandini. During the Monaco Grand Prix of 1967, the Italians had an accident in the 82nd lap. Bandini was probably tired and inattentive, and so the driver grazed the boundary and went off the track. He was stopped by a protection with straw blocks. His Ferrari immediately went up into flames, but the gasoline and oil on the track also immediately sparked an inferno. Bandini could only be freed after 3 minutes and died 3 days later in a hospital. After this accident, the race distance in Monaco was shortened from 100 to 80 laps. Number 3, Wolfgang von Trips.
Wow.
One of the first fatal accidents in the history of Formula One was the accident of Wolfgang Berger von Trips in 1961 at the Grand Prix, Italy. The man from Cologne collided with the British Jim Clark, lost control of his Ferrari, and slammed his car into the barriers. At that time, the spectators were still right against the wall, which caused devastating losses. The photographer of these pictures was immediately killed, 60 spectators were injured, and 15 people ultimately lost their lives. Von Trips himself was thrown from the car and unfortunately did not survive. Number 2. Ayrton Senna. The death of Ayrton Senna is probably the most well-known from this list. The Brazilian professional race driver, however, was well-known even before his death. He took a total of 41 victories, 19 of the fastest laps, and was a 3-time world champion. He even had the nickname The Magic due to his fast driving in the rain. In 2004, Senna was named the fastest driver in the history of F1, but ultimately his speed was his undoing. However, I must mention here that the accident that happened was controversial and is not yet fully understood. At the Grand Prix of San Marino in 1994, some accidents had occurred in advance, one of them also deadly. The Austrian Roland Ratzenberger had died in the qualifiers after losing control of his car at about 300 km per hour and crashing into a track barrier. However, the race continued. Senna had been ahead of Schumacher since the 5th lap, and in the 7th round he came around a fast curve and apparently lost control of his steering and went right into the barrier.
Wow.
In this case, the front right wheel ripped off and then a piece of suspension pierced Senna's helmet. At least that's what the official report states. We won't go too deeply into the debate about the cause of death, but if you're interested, there are several documentaries about Senna and this accident in particular. And finally, number 1, Tom Pryce. Once again, a warning on my behalf. The pictures following this one may be extremely disturbing to some people. During the Grand Prix of South Africa 1977, the teammate...
Wow. So yeah, man, I thought the other ones were really graphic, man. He said this one is graphic.
of Tom Pryce, Renzo Zorzi, came to a stop at the roadside because of a defect in his car. 2 marshals quickly rushed to help him and ran across the track. However, only one arrived. The attentive among you might have already noticed. And there's another perspective on this accident in the film Speed Fever, which was popular at the time. We chose not to pixelate the scene, but you can skip it if you'd like. The Briton Tom Pryce could not avoid the marshals and caught one of them head-on at 280 kilometers per hour. While we were looking at this, though, the fire extinguisher of the 18-year-old marshal hit Pryce on the head, and Pryce also died on the spot. But even then, he drove several hundred meters until he came to a stop around the curve.
What was that?
Believe it, though, the race continued.
What was that? Let me replay that. Oh, I don't want to replay that. That looks so scary. Did his body split in half?
However, only one arrived. The attentive
his body disintegrated, bro. What just happened?
Among you might have already noticed. And there's another perspective on this accident in the film Speed Fever, which was popular at the time. We chose not to pixelate the scene, but you can skip it if you'd like. The Briton Tom Pryce could not avoid the marshals and caught one of them head-on at 280 kilometers per hour.
Oh, man, bro. And he couldn't avoid it either.
We were looking at this, though, the fire extinguisher of the 18-year-old marshal hit Pryce on the head, and Pryce also died on the spot. But even then, he drove several hundred meters until he came to a stop around the curve. And you wouldn't believe it, though, the race continued.
The freaking race continued.
Folks, well, these certainly represent some of the darker moments in the
Oh, man. Wow. Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace. That was actually a pretty tough video, man. Wow, man. I don't even know what to do after that one. That was pretty crazy, man. This Formula 1 ain't no joke, boy. And it's crazy that the races still, some of these races still went on. For me, I just gotta love and respect for so many things, for people in general. I have a love and respect for people, man. So it's just sometimes stuff like this hit different, you know. But if y'all enjoyed the video, y'all be sure to leave a like, comment down below. Sending my condolences out, my love out. Hey, man, join the family if you are new here. We drop videos every single day. You can also request something down below. Huge shout out to Jake for this request and being able to warn me and tell me all the details before I got into the video and what to be aware of. You know, he actually warned me about this video, and you know, I didn't know what to expect coming in, but he told me to just be aware that it's real graphic, you know. So huge shout out to Jake. Jake, if you're watching, I love you. And hey, man, if you're not a part of the family, join the Keep Coming family. We're finna hit 70,000 on this channel. Want to roll to 100,000, man. I love y'all truly. Y'all have an amazing day, an amazing week, an amazing month, and a blessed year, man. Y'all have a blessed year, man. And I'll catch y'all on the next one, man. Peace and love, y'all.